Well, I'm Jed Davies.
I joined Club Lotus in 1982 or something, and we used to come down here and do these fantastic test days at Taupo. And there was one caterum in the bunch of Cortinas and all kinds of other Lotai that I always admired. And I had a little fabrication business at the time, and I kind of always knew that in the back of my mind that car wouldn't be impossible to build. And so as time went on and the whole Japanese car industry started here in New Zealand, the import industry, so did the importation of cheap, really cool motors. And so that put the two together, and we were pretty early to start in 86. I bought a set of product from glass stuff from a guy in Nelson, and we built up a chassis from photographs and measurements and looking at other people's cars. And there were a few books around then, not as many now. But the idea was to make it look as good, as close as possible to a Series 37, but run Japanese engines. And so I built my own car and took it to the motor show in 88, and we left there with 5 orders. So that was sort of the confirmation I needed that there was a business there, and we went from there, really. I'm really proud of the fact that we've got lots of things, that we've got such a great bunch of owners, and that there is some kind of common theme amongst them, even though they're all eccentrics in their own right, including us. They come together over the car, and I think that's fantastic. So that's number one. A second high would be, I'd be very proud of the fact that we built and maintained an export industry to Japan, and that's a competitive market and very demanding, and we were able to produce the quality and the price to stay there. And it was not us that petered out, it was the agent really got a bit old, and all markets change, and so by my reckoning there's a couple of hundred cars up there that I'm very proud of. So. Other highs would be racing the car in Japan, racing the car in Australia, racing the car in New Zealand, doing Targa Tasmania, doing 4 or 5 Targas in New Zealand, and in a car that's got your stamp on it and your name on it. That's really something too.
My name's Scott. I'm the boss at Fraser Cars, co-owner with my wife Ida. I come from an engineering background. We brought the business in 2006 after I'd been employed there by Neil for 6 years, I think, 5 or 6 years, and we bought the company because we thoroughly enjoy the people and the cars, and have had a great time to date. This year celebrating our 25th anniversary of Fraser Cars, and we've got a fantastic turnout today at Taupo racetrack with I think probably the biggest turnout of Frasers we've ever had. I've got lots of funny stories and memories. A lot of them I probably can't share, but I guess we bought the company because we do enjoy the events and everything, and the cars and everything that goes with that, and I think every time we go out we have a story or something happens to that we that is memorable or that is interesting. These cars, one of the things I still find amazing with these cars is whether you are driving down the road to get the milk, or going on a run through some town in the middle of nowhere. The people, everyone, they just bring happiness to everyone. You know, everyone wants to find out about them, and everyone smiles and wants to wave, and so I guess that's probably the memory that I have most of them, and you know that every time we go out we have a good time.
My involvement with Fraser cars has been right from the very word go. I went to the 1988 motor show and fell in love with a British racing green car that was on sale there. I'd been at an earlier stage interested in talking to Evan Frey of Chevron Cars, but I forgot him quickly, and a short time after that show I ordered a Fraser car. Mine ended up as being number 4 chassis, and I then spent quite a bit of a year putting it together. I always wanted a sports car, and so for me it came late in life, so it's just one of the privileges of getting older, I suppose. Anyway, I decided when I'd finished, when Neil asked if I'd like to do a little bit of work for them, yes, I thought I'd do that, but I didn't really want it to be too long, but it turned into 7 years, so I was helping them. So I've had quite a connection with the factory and those early cars. Yes, well, when we started at the beginning, there were a lot of parts for the Fraser car that no one had. You couldn't buy them anywhere, so we had to make them ourselves, and I became involved in a number of things, such as the wiper blades and horn rubbing contacts and modifying other bits and pieces, and I made the wiring looms because, well, you just couldn't buy a wiring loom for wiring up the headlights and all the ancillary equipment in the car. So in actual fact I still do that, and it was just this last week I delivered number 288 wiring loom to the Fraser Car Company. But a number of people of course made their own, and because there are many more Frasers than that number around. But it's mainly the wiring looms that I'm doing these days, yes. One of our racing drivers, John Bloomingdale, with a car called Fast As, was a beautifully finished car, a red one. Of course, they're always the best. Mine's a red car. And he was racing at the Hamilton Street Race a number of years ago, and it had a night race incorporated. But the one that John was particularly in was on the Saturday in the evening. He got pushed off his racing line, and I think he hit a curb or something, and the Fraser rolled. Now, he's the first person to roll a Fraser, and there was extensive damage, but luckily he wasn't hurt. Do you know, John, that evening thought, I'll fix this, so he looked up the phone book and rang an engineering shop, and didn't know the person, asked the owner if he'd come down and open up the shop and help him fix his car. Now, they worked until the early hours of the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and repaired it. And you know, John went out the next day into the street race. There were 2 races that day, and he won both of those races. There was probably a great advertisement for duct tape, but it certainly just showed what those cars can do. Only a Fraser could do that.
So I bought a kit. I spent a year collecting all the donor parts, bought a kit, and then 2 wooden sawhorses, and just assembled it as and when I had time, with frequent trips to the factory, because I live close, which is fortunate. Just watching the family drive it, from the father-in-law, who's 82, to the 3 boys having a go at it, and it's just a big grin day at track day. First came round Taupo in February 2009 with 2 of my boys, and we had a ball. Oh, absolutely. Richard screws its neck. He can go 5 seconds faster around here than I can, but he doesn't care about the gearbox. He uses second, none of us do.
Oh, okay, look, I'm the proud owner of a Fraser. It's car number 202, and it was built by a very clever young man called John Pragnell. And I was fortunate to buy this car after I had an incident in a car that I owned previously. It's given me an awful lot of pleasure. I've owned the car now for the best part of 13 years, and I've travelled over 100,000 kilometres in it. And I've often thought to myself that John didn't build that car for himself, he built it for Jed. And where have I been? I've circumnavigated New Zealand a couple of times. I've been to lots of parties in it. I've been to track days in it. I've cruised up and down Ponsonby Road in it. I've been waved at. I've been whistled at. And I've just had a wonderful time in it. It's a very happy car. People come up to you and they say, my old man had one of those. You know bloody well he didn't. But it introduces you to people, and it just gives me an awful lot of pleasure. It's given me the shit sometimes too. You know, I was here last year and the alternator fell off. That's only because I didn't put it on properly. It wears out tyres at 100 miles an hour. That's because I make the wheels spin around at the back too often. But apart from that, it's just pure pleasure. I don't think that I've ever owned anything for as long as I've had this, that I've had so much time, pleasure, and of course there's all the people in the club and the camaraderie of it all, and the places that we've been, the adventures that we've been on, the nice dinners that we've had. It's just been an absolute joy to own, and I'm very proud to own a Fraser, and I'm very proud to be part of the Fraser family. It's given me a lot of fun.
Is that it? Boo! Why did you put the roll bar? Why did you put the roll bar like that?